Good morning. This is TCR, TroyCommunityRadio.com. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN for David Denoyer on TCTV. Time now for the Mayor's Report. And with me, Mayor Michael Beamish this morning. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Clint. Merry Christmas to Dave. And certainly Merry Christmas to all that are listening to this show. Aired the day after Christmas.
Yes.
Weather.
Yeah, I know the weather.
Wow.
It doesn't quite seem like... Now, when you're downtown with all the Christmas lights at night, it absolutely is Christmas. But you get up in the morning and it's in the 40s and just kind of a little wet.
Well, it's festive downtown.
Yes.
It's festive if you drive around the community. But
Lots of lights.
The weather sure doesn't give us that December
feeling. Driving around at night and looking at the lights is how you know it's Christmas and the great holiday spirit everyone's been in.
That is, the holiday spirit's there, and you can sense that. But I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a wonderful, joyous New Year. We'll talk a little bit more of that maybe later in closing. But
well, you had your last council of
right.
2015.
Last council meeting of 2015. Didn't seem possible. We had a very light agenda. We only really had no resolutions to act on, and we had 8 of our council members present for that final meeting, and we had 2 ordinances, and one is a very brief ordinance. It was talking about the benefit package that for our non-bargaining unit employees. That was pretty standard, just looking at some of the benefit provisions. And that was emergency legislation, obviously, to make sure it was enacted by 2016. So that passed unanimously, 8-0. The other issue was an amended general plan for the Stonebridge Meadows PD. A lot of discussion about that. We had a public hearing and people made comments about that. But the recommendation was made by the Troy Planning Commission, and the proposed amendment was added by the Committee of Law and Ordinance, and it was proposed that the general plan for Stonebridge Meadows PD be approved. However, they noted that they listened to the comments at the public hearing, and he recognized that the developer has made changes to the covenants, the conditions, the restrictions, they call it CCR, but that it wasn't necessarily what the development was originally presented, and so those similar changes that could be made for the future, they wanted to add the amendment that would have a provision that would require such of those changes would have to have the approval and consideration of Troy City Council. So that amendment was presented as 041-2015, one of the last ordinances of the year. It passed 8-0 for the amendment. Now, that amendment then was presented at this council meeting. Because it was amended, it has to move forward at least one time. It can go further, but that ordinance would not be considered for adoption until the January 4th of 2016 meeting of council. So it's a little timeline. They moved it to another reading because of the amendment passed. So that was really the short version of the whole council meeting, but there were a number of other items that I think I would like to share about that came out of the city council meeting.
Certainly.
On the 21st. And I'm going to start with a tribute to 3 members of council, each representing, we're a statutory form of government. So we have the executive branch, we have the legislative branch, and we have the judicial branch of government, very similar to our national and state government. Saying that, we had a member of each of those retiring at the end of this meeting. So I'll start with Jim Livingston. Jim Livingston is our law director, will be our law director until December 31st at the midnight hour. But everybody knows Jim. Jim was former Miami County prosecutor. He's very well in part of this Troy community in so many different ways. But he served as our law director from January 1 of 2012 to what will be December 31st of 2015. So he brought his talents, he brought his time, and gave us great expertise from the judicial side of things. It helped us out a lot. And so we wish him very well in his retirement and as he moves forward in other new endeavors. That was the judicial part. The executive part was our auditor. Our city auditor was John Stickel. John Stickel came on board on June 6th of 2011, and he continued until what will be December 31st of this year, of 2015. And John did a wonderful job as our auditor. We worked very well together in partnership. He's a member of our cabinet. He obviously has won many awards, as well as the other predecessors, in stewardship and finance for our city of Troy. So it was in good hands, and he did a remarkable job. But he too is involved in this community in other aspects, and he'll be missed on the executive side as our auditor, city auditor. The last individual is from the legislative branch, and that is our good friend Allan Clark. Allan Clark, you talk about a person who's given of his time and his talent and involvement in this community. He was a law enforcement officer. He was an attendance officer. He served on city council for 6 terms from January 1 of 2004 to what will be December 31st of 2015. That's 6 terms on city council, giving and spending a lot of time doing due diligence and making decisions that have moved our city forward. So he's our long-tenured city councilman that is leaving the post. And so we wish all 3 of them the best in all their future time and endeavors, and spending time with family, more time with family, and wish them well. They did a great job, all 3, and we thank them for that service.
Absolutely. And that means you have 3 more coming in.
Thank you. Let's talk about those 3. So on January 1 of 2016, not many days away, we will be joined on city council with John Terwilliger. And everybody, most people know John as an educator, great educator, but also a coach in this community. And so he'll be joining, has a great family to go with it. And so he'll be joining City Council, replacing Mr. Clark on City Council. On the executive side, John Frigge. Many people know John Frigge. He's really involved in this community in so many aspects. But he will be our new city auditor, has great finance background. And so he'll come on board as the city auditor on January 1. In the judicial side of things, we've got a returning law director coming to us in Grant Kerber. Grant Kerber will take over duties on January 1 of 2016. But Grant has, again, very much involved in this community, is one of our advisors to the Mayor's Youth Council. But he has served as a law director and is coming back as a law director, so he has great experience to that position. So those 3 join us, and the rest of us will be back. We have our oath of office on December 30th, and so we'll be ready to go, hit the road running, and moving forward with a new vision for Troy. Wow.
Now, you said you had something really good about the Troy Foundation.
Well, the Troy Foundation. Boy,
well, it's all the good, yes, all the good that they do.
Oh.
They've stepped up again.
Oh, I got a phone call from Melissa Kleps, the executive director of the Troy Foundation, and she was all excited at the Christmas time when you talk about giving. Well, right. Troy Foundation gives and gives and gives some more to many different projects. Well, she called and says, "I got some good news for you, Mayor." And a check's in the mail. And I've heard that before, but obviously the check was in the mail because I received it with a letter from the distribution committee. They have granted the amount of $100,000 to go towards the recreational fields that are being planned to be addition to Duke Park. It's
out by the Hughes
Camp Farm
yes.
that we purchased, and they're donating $100,000 to the development of those recreational complex. And that's not it. All of it. That was $100,000. I got the check even in the mail, and so we passed that on to the auditor's office. Which a big thank you. That shows their continued support for this community and for the future of young people playing ball and using recreational facilities here in our community. But in addition, she also added, we're also going to be, the distribution committee wants to give $30,000 more dollars. Notice I said more dollars to the Miracle Field complex, which is going to be a part of that recreational complex. So in essence, and that's going to the Miracle League committee. Bobby Phillips, one of our city councilmen, is the president of that group. John Frigge is their treasurer. So it stays in the family,
right.
And it's going to a good cause. So $30,000 will be for the Miracle designation, Miracle Field, which allows people of all ages and with all potential developmental difficulties that they may have to participate, which is something dear to my heart. I'm very pleased that the Troy Foundation has chosen those two under one complex to make grant distribution monies available. So a big thank you to, again, Melissa Kleps, the distribution committee, all of Troy Foundation's board for their generous contribution as we move forward with recreational complex here in the city of Troy.
Certainly a lot of caring in Troy.
You talk about the holiday season of giving.
Yes.
That's wonderful, and I thank them for that.
Now, the city received a citation.
Yes, it's not a negative citation.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's a citation. Oh, this is bad news. And I still want to keep on the upswing of this kind of season of giving and caring and joy. And we received from the Miami County Veterans Services Association a citation, a certificate of appreciation to the city of Troy in general for their support in patriotism and support for the veterans of this county. And that meant a lot because that was a nice thing that they did to acknowledge the fact that the city of Troy is involved in support of all the veterans' activities. I'm an optimist, and we do the flags to show our patriotism. But there's many activities throughout the year that we celebrate, we observe, and the Miami County Veterans Association wanted to acknowledge their appreciation for our support for their organization and their activities. That was good.
And that is good.
We end the season on a good note, and we're still eagerly awaiting the ABC, the America's Best Communities designation.
Now, there's an announcement that'll be out on that in the beginning of the year.
In 2016, we're looking forward to probably the second week of January, 13th is what we're told, and we'll know if we make the final 15. They've narrowed it they will be narrowing it from 50 communities, which were one, down to 15. And we're hopeful. But I should share with the general public, we do have a community connection center down in the square. Hope people will drop by and see what we're doing because it does show partnerships in Troy. The reason I say that is whether we move on to the semifinal status or not, the steering committee has said our plan for the future is with vision, and we will continue those 4 initiatives that we're working towards, whether we get the next level prize or not.
Which is a good thing to know that all this, like you said, whether or not we move on to the next level, is making a direct effect in our community.
Absolutely.
And
we
we'll
will have
continue.
an open house on January 14th of 2016. I'm getting used to that, 2016. But we certainly invite anybody to come in to the Connection Center and just see the partnerships that exist that makes Troy, Troy.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor. Anything else you'd like to kind of tag in on the end of this 2015?
Well, Clint, I want to thank you for one. I want to thank David for both of you for always looking at the positive side of our community, looking at the good things that are going on, because we have a lot of things to be blessed and thankful for. And in 2015, I would wish everybody out there listening a very, very Merry Christmas, even though it's a day after. It's the season. And there's a reason for the season, and I hope we always remember that as we move forward. I thank everybody for your service and your giving to this community to make it a best community. And also I look forward to a joyous and prosperous 2016, and thank everyone out there for helping to make that possible.
All right. And on the off chance we wind up with snow, we'll just remind people to keep your gutters clear out in front of your houses and the storm drains. But I don't think we're running into that problem quite yet.
Well, you know, we had Jerry Mullins in here, and he gave us the update on what we're going to be doing. Right now, he's probably sitting there. He's not whittling his thumbs, I'll be honest with you. There, he's already said this kind of weather allows them to do some street project maintenance. But if we do have those snow incidences, there are some things that all of us could do, and that is keep those storm sewers clear, fire hydrants clear, and allow the street crews to get their jobs done well and efficiently.
And we know that they're just waiting.
We got the salt.
We got everything we
got
need.
the brine.
So if we hit that problem, they are ready to hit the street rolling.
And Jerry will do the best he can to keep our streets open and free.
All right, Mayor, thank you very much. We'll see you in 2016.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. This has been the Mayor's Report. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN for David Denoyer on TC TV.